In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, James and I, we are live. We are here at the official NBA Draft Hotel. And in this episode, we are going to talk about all the rumors and all the latest news around the 2025 NBA Draft. Shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe. To my left, or probably to your right on your camera or your TV, is my brother James Barlowe. If you're not subscribed to the Locked On NBA Big Board YouTube channel, please subscribe. Like, share, comment, click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode. All right, let's get right into it. We're here in New York City. It is about 200 degrees. It feels like it. I mean, it is blazing hot. And you know, if you've never been to New York, 100 feels a little bit different than 100 everywhere else because there's so many people just on top of each other. It's so crowded. Some of the buildings are old, so we're trying to stay warm, or not stay warm. We're trying to stay cool and stay inside. But it's a lot going on in the NBA draft world today. This is James's first NBA draft. Overall, what do you think of the experience so far?
We did the media availability. All the green room invites were there. I got a couple opportunities to ask some questions to some guys. Met some power agents. It's a great experience, man. I'm glad that I'm able to do this and do with you, big dog.
Yeah, so today's been pretty crazy. 6 a.m. flight, and got here and just had to check in the hotel, rush to the official NBA hotel. We can't afford to stay at the NBA hotel because you gotta have big dog money, but we're a few blocks away. So right when we got here, they had the media availability, and they had the players come in different waves, and you got a chance to interview the players. Cooper flag was obviously the main attraction. I think Dallas's whole media, whether it's the Dallas Mavericks media team, or even all the local news affiliates in Dallas are here because Cooper flag is obviously a big deal. Let's start off with the top news of the day. I don't even know
What is the top
news? So a few minutes ago, just as we were arriving to the hotel, we were walking to the hotel, Shams Charania broke a big trade. The Boston Celtics, Atlanta Hawks, and Brooklyn Nets are finalizing a 3-team trade that sends Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Hawks, Terrence Mann and the number 22 pick to the Nets, and Georges Niang and a second-rounder to the Celtics. Just off the top of my head, Georges Niang is from the Boston area, so he gets to go home. But the Atlanta Hawks got some size. We knew that they needed to add some size this offseason. I didn't think that Kristaps Porzingis was the size they were looking for. He's definitely massive at 7'4", but Atlanta needed a 7-footer. And the Brooklyn Nets got another first-round pick. That means they have 5 first-round picks. And we just talked to an agent of a player. He has a couple of players that could be in that range. And he said, as of now, right now it is 7:38 Eastern time on Tuesday night, the day before the draft. He believes the Brooklyn Nets are going to keep all of their first-round picks. What do you think about that? 5 first-round picks?
I think I still feel like that's a move to move up into the top 3. Maybe Charlotte trades back, but as of right now, 5 first-round picks. That's one of those moves you make on 2K when you play GM mode and it's like 2038 and you fleece some team for all their picks. Well, it'd be interesting to see what the Nets do. But I do like Porzingis in Atlanta. Obviously, he's a 7-footer. He gives you that rim protection, but he's also a pick and pop guy. So now you got athleticism and space, and it helps out Trae Young a lot. And they still kept their 13th pick as well. So the Hawks, I feel like had a good off season today, but there's more moves to be made.
I think that pretty much guarantees that the Hawks are going to look at backcourt depth at pick 13. If Kaspar Jakachonis is available, I think that makes sense. Yegor Dimon could be available in that range. What other point guards do you see Atlanta could be targeting? Obviously, it has to be a point guard with some size.
I would pivot. Instead of going with a point guard, I'd probably let Dyson Daniels be my backup point guard. And maybe if Nick Clifford or Cedric Coward is there at 13, I'd probably lean more towards wing depth because I feel like they need playmaking. But, if you got Trey out there, and I feel like Dyson, and Jalen Johnson are going to handle the ball. I don't necessarily think they need a young point guard, so I think wing definitely would be the decision that I would go with.
That makes sense. It just depends on what they do with Kobe Buffkin or how they feel about Kobe Buffkin. He could be the backup point guard. I mean, they just drafted him 2 years ago, so who knows what's going on there. All right, another big topic of the day was Noa Essengue, French prospect that his team is currently playing in Germany, and he is here. He is here. He was at the media session earlier today. We talked to his agent. This was all planned. It wasn't like he just packed up and left. It was all planned. It was something that the agency and his team had talked about. Unique situation. I don't know if he gets away with something like that in Greece or Turkey or Serbia, but interesting situation for him to choose hearing his name called over playing in Game 5, the championship game. What do you think about that?
I understand both sides of it, but ultimately, like, you have to think, when he signed up to play for Radio Farm, that he could be in this position. And also, I think the other team voted on the dates. So, like, this isn't something that just, sprung up on Essengue and his camp. Like, they kind of saw it coming. So, I mean, obviously, you helped that team. You've worked hard to get to this point, but you've worked your entire life to get to this point, which is the NBA draft. I probably would do the same thing. And, talking to his agent, there wasn't any backlash. They knew what was, going on. So, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Essengue, he was there for media availability, and, it looks like he's a top 10 pick. So I think that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you can't necessarily pass up.
Yeah, I would take him at number 8 if I'm the Nets, if he's available. They have 5 picks. You can swing for the fences on 3 of them.
Right.
and then you still have more picks. But I like Essengue. Do you think this could change the perception? Do you think this could be a red flag? We talked to a rival agent, and he said he thinks that teams could feel a little bit differently about him because he chose to hear his name called as opposed to helping his team win a championship.
That's an interesting perspective that I didn't think about. I wouldn't necessarily call it a red flag because, he's 18, right? Who's to say that this was 100% his decision to show up to the draft? Maybe it was his agency's decision. Maybe it was a mutual decision between the two. I don't necessarily consider it a red flag. I mean, I look at it as this. I've seen all the film on this kid for an entire year, probably been tracking him for 2 years. He chose to show up to the draft. I'm just going to, check my intel and make sure that he is a good kid, but it sounds like he is. We're just going to go from there.
But does it mean something that his teammate, Ben Saraf, a projected first-round pick, chose to stay?
I mean, everybody has their own decisions. I mean, Ben Saraf is a projected first-round pick, not a projected lottery pick. So there is a difference. And, I don't look at either kid differently. Like, choices are made, and, here we are today. But, again, I get both sides of it. At the same time, though, if I was a GM, like if I talked to, Essengue's agency and they explained that they knew that this was a possibility and, everything else checked out, then this is just where we are.
So I'm just looking at a tweet came out earlier today. Understandable decision by Noa Essengue. That's where he's worked towards his whole life. Radio Farm and his fans will support Noah, but the media will use this to create a negative atmosphere. What do you think about that?
I mean, what media is it, though? Like, once the media picks up that he was drafted by a team or whoever, it may be a slight story, but it's going to be a bigger story that they just drafted this 18-year-old, highly productive, athletic kid out of France, more so than the choice that, his team he decided not to play for his team. Now, again, if the team wins, Radio Farm wins or loses, then maybe it becomes a bigger story. But, in today's news cycle, man, it's hard to, keep up with a story longer than a couple days.
All right, up next, we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns. Who the Phoenix Suns can target at number 10. Got to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's a lot of buzz around here saying that the Thunder are looking to move into the lottery. All right, let's talk about open phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is basically money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, what'd you do? You went on to the next, you moved on. And that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets you manage business calls and texts from a single app. And their AI agent handles after-hours calls. It answers common questions and captures leads, so you never miss a customer. So Open Phone right now is offering listeners, my listeners, Locked On NBA Big Board listeners, 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That is OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have an existing number with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. All right, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns obviously made a big move on Sunday. They traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. They picked up the 10th pick in the draft. I did a podcast on Sunday naming some potential targets for the Suns at number 10, whether it is a point guard, because, they need a point guard. Right now you got Devin Booker, you have Jalen Green, and you have Bradley Beal. There are some reports that they're trying to move Bradley Beal, but that's not a secret.
Good luck.
And Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause, so it is totally up to him. He's not going to do anything at the convenience of the Phoenix Suns. That's what he signed the no-trade clause for. So I think Devin Booker's going to be their primary ball handler, but I still think they need a natural table setter. Who are some options that you think that they should look at number 10?
I'd probably go in a different direction than a natural table setter. I would go best player available if I was the Phoenix Suns. You look at that roster, and I know Bradley Beal is old. Or not old, he's due for a big payday.
He's not getting a big payday.
Not Bradley, I'm sorry, I meant to say Devin Booker. Devin Booker is due for a big payday.
It's like every 3 years he's due for
he's probably got to be close to, it feels like he's close to $700 million. But, I feel like I'm going with the best player available. And if the rumors are true that Derik Queen is sliding rough, you know how I feel about Derik Queen. I'm running to the podium to take him. I'm not necessarily drafting for at 10, because you got to think, the Suns' future is who knows what the Suns' future looks like. And, they worked hard to get these picks back. So I'm going best player available at 10 now. If Queen is gone, do you look at a Kasparis Jakuchonis to, fill that point guard need? Do you go with a Colin Boyles, who seems like his name is creeping up? Do you go with, I don't think they can go with a wing. They got too many guys. It just has to either be a point guard or possibly a big. So hopefully it's Queen. I think Queen is got all the talent in the world, and then you got those fours. There's 3s and 4s. Dylan Brooks.
Need a big wing. Well,
you got Dylan Brooks, and you got Ryan Dunn. I feel like you got
Ryan Dunn. To me, is not a wing.
Well, 3-4. He's a wing in a sense.
I think you need a natural wing with size, in addition to Dylan Brooks. I'll let you cook.
I'm going with Queen right there if I'm the Suns, if he's there.
So speaking of Queen, Mark Stein, shout out to my guy Mark Stein. He reported earlier today that the Suns are going to target a big with their pick at number 10. And he says that the Suns are targeting Derik Queen and Danny Wolf. We know you like Queen, so tell me your thoughts on Queen and how he would fit with the current Phoenix Suns roster.
Like I said, you got two big defenders in Dylan Brooks and Ryan Dunn. I think that is what you need to help Queen out. If you have any questions about his shot blocking ability, you got guys that are going to stifle your ball handlers, the opposing team's ball handlers on the perimeter, and that way he's not forced to play drop coverage. And I do think Queen, like I said, I've been saying it for some time, I think Queen can defend on the perimeter in spurts. He just has to lock in on defense. As far as Danny Wolf goes at 11, that's a little bit high for me. But I do, he's an intriguing talent. He's a 7-footer that can put the ball in the ground, but that's just too high for me. Shout out to Danny Wolf, though.
Yeah, I like Danny Wolf. 10, to me, that's definitely a reach.
Did Danny Wolf go to Michigan? Is close enough to Michigan State.
Yeah, but they don't like each other.
They don't like each other? They put the beef aside?
Maybe they go with Jace Richardson at number 10.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Maybe they go with Jace Richardson at number 10, or maybe they make a trade for Draymond Green or Jaren Jackson.
Bring back Shannon Brown or something, man.
Who knows? Add Zebo, Zach Randolph to the front office. All right, up next, we're going to talk about the NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder, who are reportedly interested in moving inside of the lottery. There's nothing like stepping into your own outdoor space and feeling like you've escaped to your own personal oasis. And if you are wanting to update your patio this summer, Wayfair has made it so easy to turn it into a space that feels like yours. Comfortable, stylish, and ready for the summer. And Wayfair has everything you need to level up your outdoor space. Whether you're looking for conversation sets, outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and yes, even the perfect string lights to set the vibe. It's like giving your backyard that resort feel without the resort price tag. So what are you looking to do to upgrade your backyard? We're in New York, so I don't think anybody here has a backyard unless you live in Queens. But the delivery is fast. It is totally hassle-free, even with larger items. So don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. That's wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Again, James and I, we are live at the official NBA Draft Hotel. A little chatter going on behind. We met Hansen Yang.
Hey, man.
I think he knew who we were.
He might have, man.
He was looking like he knew who we were.
He wanted to say what's up, dog, in Chinese, but, you know, he gave me the dap. So that's not definitely on his first dap. His hands are really as big as they say they are. He about to touch my whole elbow, the other side of my elbow when he shook my hand. So
my dumb butt said something to him like I was going to start a conversation with him in English.
Yeah, he
but I talked to
definitely
his,
his interpreter.
I talked to his interpreters, but Hansen Yang and Khaman Maluach, like they are legitimate 7'2".
Yeah.
Like they're compared to everybody else that we've seen here, they are. They're much bigger than everybody else here that we've seen here. Hansen Yang was not invited to the green room, but Hansen Yang is here. So Hansen Yang is here in Brooklyn. So that could be a good sign for Hansen Yang because, yeah, you can pay your own way to be here, but he's been training in California. So for him to be here, they think something is happening. All right, let's talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Fresh off a championship. Matter of fact, they had the parade today. I don't want to sound like an old head, but that's the worst dressed team in NBA history.
Man, that's that gin, whatever they are. Man. I don't know what these kids wear. I feel like I'm pretty youthful, but you know, some of the stuff that these kids wear, man, that's that boomer talk coming out of me.
I'm joking, Thunder fans. I know they got a bunch of stylistic guys. I mean, I actually just love what their team represents. They're a close-knit unit. You know, my wife was watching games. She was like, "Why are they all in the interview?" She's like, "What is he doing? He doesn't even have on a uniform." But I was trying to explain to her it's just a sign of them being a close-knit team. They look like they all got the same fashion stylist. They all had on these big old jorts. but anyway, with that being said, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they just won a championship Sunday night. They had a parade today, and they are looking to make moves. It is reported that the Thunder, who have picks 15 and 24, are looking to package those two picks to possibly move up in the lottery. If you are Sam Presti and you're willing to move up 2 picks, obviously you probably don't want to bring in 2 more rookies. You want to consolidate those because you still got a rookie in Nikola Topic that didn't play last year as a lottery pick. Who are you targeting in the lottery?
It's a good question. And you have to think, you know, OKC, they feel like, you know, they got the blueprints of success, and whoever they decide to select, they think that, or at least I think that in 2 years when, you know, they really got to start paying people, they need some backup plans. So maybe they go wing right there, you know. Cedric Howard could be a possibility. Maybe they go with a big. I don't know.
Khaman Maluach today.
We heard about Khaman Maluach.
We heard that could be a target. Maluach's name has been mentioned a lot. Somebody mentioned to me, are the Spurs looking at Cedric Howard? And I ended up speaking to some close sources, and they said that everything is on the table right now. I think there's a lot of agents that feel like their players are in play between 10 to 15. It's probably about 9 guys that think that they can go anywhere from 10 to 15. Like we just mentioned earlier, Danny Wolf is a name that has been floated around that could go that high. Is Derik Queen a name that you think could fit the Thunder?
Oh, I didn't think about you know, Derik Queen and Chet with those hacking defenders on the wing. I mean, that's a perfect opportunity for him too. And that gives him also a different look. If if I'm Sam Presti and I'm like, all right, man, we know Chet is the goods on defense. So offensively, he definitely struggled. right? The three ball was looking kind of shaky, but you bring in somebody else who can, create looks in the half court like Derik Queen, then you have something. You have basically something for every defense. You got your hybrid big, two of them really, and then you got your playmaking, whatever position they play, Jalen Williams and SGA. So Derik Queen is, we talked to somebody today, and Oklahoma City just looks like they know what they're doing. They get that pass because you win the championship, you draft well. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do because they definitely have the assets to move up. And I'd have to look and see, but they got to have somebody's 2026 pick.
Yeah, I just wonder who wants to move down to 15 and 24 that is in the lottery. But right now, there's a lot of speculation going on. But one thing that has been, I guess, the theme of the last few weeks as far as trades, outside of the Kevin Durant trade, which we knew was going to happen, these other trades, no rumors, no smoke. I mean, Jordan Poole getting traded to the Pelicans.
Shout out to you, Rob. You traded Jordan Poole 2 weeks ago.
I mean, to me, I got aggregated on NBA Central because I said Jordan Poole could be moved. But to me, that wasn't like...
I told him Anthony Simons was going to get moved, too.
I don't think I was breaking any news, but this trade didn't really involve, any major draft capital, but it was CJ McCollum and Kel'el and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole, Saddiq Bey, and the number 40 pick. Looks like the Pelicans are trying to win now.
Are they?
I mean, you added Jordan. I mean, you got younger.
You took back some. Well, we talked about the Pelicans needing point guard. They definitely need a point guard. It seems like Dejounte Murray is still out with an Achilles injury. And then, I figured McCollum would get moved. I didn't think it would be this soon. But I just kind of feel like with that move, the Pelicans, what they used to tweet, the Pelicans are zeroed in on Ace Bailey because now you got your point guard there. It kind of doesn't make sense for them to take a Jeremiah Fears, but at the same time, Brooklyn's moved up, and also Washington, what do they still do? Because they have McCollum, who is on a rental. They still got Bub, and they got all that cap space. I don't know what they're gonna do with all that cap space, but do they decide to go at Fears there? Or do they look at Ace Bailey? I don't know. And from the people that we've talked to, nobody knows what's going to happen. Everybody's on pins and needles right now.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow is the 2025 NBA Draft. Where does Ace Bailey end up?
I think I froze up. I don't know where he ends up. Where do you think he's going to end up?
I think Ace Bailey ends up in New Orleans. I think New Orleans. I don't think he flies to number 7, but I think he ends up in New Orleans.
It's either New Orleans. I think it's either New Orleans or Brooklyn. But New Orleans makes the most sense, especially if they're talking about trading. Trey Murphy. But
I don't think they're gonna trade Trey Murphy.
I mean, that was the rumor a couple weeks ago.
I can't see that. I mean, if they do, that's the sign of rebuilding. But who knows? I didn't think that the Grizzlies would trade Desmond Bane.
Yeah.
I think Ace Bailey ends up with the Pelicans, and I think it's going to be a trade with the Pelicans and the Hornets. I think the Hornets want to select Continental, but don't want to take him at number 4 because I don't want to get aggregated. Stay tuned tomorrow. Tomorrow is draft day. We may have another episode between now and then, but once again, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Once again, it's Rafael and James, and we are out of here.